Professionals, start your day the right way on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
A very good morning to you again. Welcome to 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let me start by apologizing again for my voice. I have a bad throat today, bad cough. Don't laugh at me. Come on. Well, but it's going to be a great day. We have a lot lined up on the show today, and we're starting off now with the headlines. I have here on the side of the table the Guardian newspaper, The Nation, and the Daily Sun, and the Daily Trust, and I'm Wemimo. Adewuni. Welcome.
I'm Sheriff Quadry. I have the Vanguard newspaper here. The Punch is also here. Daily Independent newspaper and This Day newspaper.
Remember, you can join us right now on our live feed. We're up on Facebook and YouTube. It's Nigeria Info 99.3. If you do a quick search, you find us there, and you can watch us live in the studio. You can also reach us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. You can also send us your messages on these headlines on WhatsApp. The number is 08295975805. It's a beautiful day. Gbolahan Olojede joins us. Good morning.
Good morning, Sheriff. Good morning, Wemimo.
Good morning. Security issues up here again this morning. We had up to 4 or 5 such stories yesterday.
Right.
And we're starting off with this again today. It's the biggest story of The Guardian. Our media partner, Boko Haram, kills over 10, destroys 18 vehicles, seizes 3 buses with passengers. Buhari pledges to rescue all abducted kids. Here we go again. And there are photos on the front page of The Guardian of the scene of the burnt vehicles during the attack in Borno on Sunday night. If you're looking through The Guardian, you can see the burnt vehicles here. We also have this story reported by The Nation. 30 burnt to death. Oh my goodness. By Boko Haram in Borno attack. This is so gruesome. Biggest story on the Daily Sun. Boko Haram hits hard. 30 killed, scores injured, 30 women kidnapped. Military confirms 10 deaths. Attacks are cowardly, says Buhari. Well, but it's also the biggest story on the Daily Trust today. Boko Haram fighters kill 30 stranded travelers in Borno. Mother, infant among victims, others abducted. All Boko Haram captives will be freed, says Buhari, and I'm sincerely hoping on this.
Indeed. From the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, 30 killed, 18 vehicles, houses burned in fresh Boko Haram attack. It comes with plenty of riders. The Vanguard is a paper, you can pick it up and read further. It tells you on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Boko Haram kills 30 travelers as military closes Maiduguri gates. The Punch has that in that way. Daily Independent, yes, this is the part that actually... Borno governor blames army as Boko Haram kills 30, abducts dozens. Plenty riders as well on that one because of time. And Buhari condemns attack as Boko Haram kills 30 in Borno This Day newspaper. Well,
of course, the usual condemned promise to do this and that is... Those are not the comfort, really. The comfort is to ensure that we're not going to be at this point. This is probably the biggest and most successful attack of recent by Boko Haram.
right.
And it is so sad. I mean, I listened
After
to
a
the
long time.
theater commander yesterday. He still thinks that, the figure is not right is an important part. When you can see the vehicles that are destroyed, lives have been lost, even if it is one life or, it's not about the number any longer. It's about how...
Even if it's just one person.
Yeah, how did we get to this place, to this junction? We have people who needed to enter Maiduguri, but they arrived past when the coffee was started.
And
they're stranded.
And I'm sure it's not the first time, it's not the second time that such incidences are happening. The soldiers ordinarily have been securing similar incidences. What happened? What went wrong? Nobody knew. So it's unfortunate. We have to take this nation back from these people. If our people are going to continue to live like this, it is obvious that sometimes down the line we may not have a nation. So I believe this will be of deep concern to the man on whose desk all bucks
Everything.
stop.
My worry
So
here,
that we're not just talking.
from this report, these travelers were stopped by soldiers around 4:45 p.m. on Sunday, so they had to sleep over. They stopped at about 9:50 at this village, and the travelers were allegedly forced to suspend their journeys, even though it was not yet time for curfew, which normally starts from 6 p.m. And ends at 6 a.m. unless there were other issues. Now, a member of the civilian JTF at Auno described the siege by Boko Haram as a coordinated attack. He said insurgents also carried out house-to-house search, collecting mobile phones and other valuables from locals, and also killed some of their victims. There was a petrol tanker somewhere close by.
Yes.
It then set on fire, and also they shot it with a rocket-propelled grenade. And hey,
Now we're having a rocket-propelled grenade. Shows the kind of weaponry
Right.
and the arms of the enemy. It's becoming more horrendous. Whatever decisions we need to make about these things cannot wait. They are decisions not even for one committee that will go and sit down and start talking for some weeks.
Right,
No,
right.
it's a committee that
It's
the
an
commander-in-chief will
emergency.
sit down. All the critical stakeholders will sit down and make that decision that day. Like you have a war room.
Let's look
And
at
you make
this.
decisions.
Let's look at this rider that's with this same headline on the front page of the Vanguard. I don't know if there's anything to it, but let me just look at it. Buhari says, "I will continue to frustrate Boko Haram." It sounds to me that the president is admitting that yes, no, he cannot defeat Boko Haram. All he can do, all Nigeria can do at this point, is to frustrate these terrorists.
Well, we might be reading too much meaning into it. But whatever the case is, the fact remains that we're losing people, we're losing lives. The insecurity is beginning to define us.
right.
Yes, so
It's now like a shadow.
we need to change the narrative.
We
And
do.
it's not about junketing all over the open. We need to just sit down, make a decision. This doesn't look to me like all those decisions that you keep tossing left and right, ding dong all over the whole place. Sit down, decide, and move. Something is wrong with look. This incident. Let's assume. I mean, forget about the part of the story that says maybe they were stopped before time. Let's assume
right.
that they were even stopped at the right time. It is not the first time. Curfew has been in Maiduguri for such a long time. So the issue of buses stopping, and it's not new. The soldiers
they
know
might even
exactly
have
what
planned
to
it
do.
into their journey.
You know.
Slip over,
So maybe there are betrayals. Some people leaked because it appears very coordinated. The
Yeah.
Boko Haram guys seems to know exactly what they were shooting for. They had a free day,
Right.
and
And
they
the-
wrecked
and
maximum
nobody-
havoc. And that it appears as if
uninterrupted.
there was nobody to.
Uninterrupted.
Yeah, if you listen to the governor, it was more or less implying that the soldiers abandoned their duty
Right.
posts and went away.
Which is why I read that part. If they
thoroughly
were
faulted the
stopped by soldiers, it means the soldiers were not so far away from where they are. I don't know. Well, we have comments on this coming in on WhatsApp. Steve from Ijaniki says,
I need to make one
Okay,
comment, please. There's also a sensitive matter playing out at that axis between the governor and the military. And there has to be an intervention.
yeah.
Right.
It has to be an intervention.
Right.
They don't have to have those ding dong.
It won't help anyone.
But if you don't have belief or trust in the military, the governor can't keep quiet. The governor will not keep quiet.
Yeah.
He would want to defend his
That
people.
nexus had to be fixed to
It-
ensure that they work. They're actually meant to
They-
work
they
together,
should.
not across purposes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Steve
Absolutely.
from Ijaniki says, can someone tell the presidential spokesman that the Nigeria we want is a secure country with a vibrant economy? What's going on here? I feel like this message is repeated. I feel like I read it yesterday. Okay, we have a comment here from Pastor Oladipo Ayemo from Sarigomu, who says, good morning to everyone. Have you tried to use baskets to fetch water before? That's how the fight against Boko Haram is like, when they keep releasing some so-called repentant Boko Haram. Shegun says, God bless you, Mr. Olojede, for your analysis laced with emotion. We also have this. Okay, I'll just keep it. Raymond from Ireland says, Nigerian government has failed in all fronts. They should stop all this propaganda. Aurora from Ayabo, why can't the president resign and let a competent hand lead Nigeria? How long are we going to be killed?
Not that easy.
Like, look at them. Both of them just replied as, guy, forget it.
That will not happen.
Forget it. Forget it. We have a comment also in here. Let me see. Okay, I think. Thank you so much. Shagu is saying I should take some time off. I'm going to eat semo and bokoto. Please
That clears the truth.
I wonder. Thank you for the concern, Shagu. Thank you.
Again, let's move on to other stories this morning. Vanguard newspaper. Amatekun bill becomes law February 14. Fire me. That's on the front
On
page
Valentine's
of the...
Day.
Yes, that's
What?
right. That's how much I love you. Vanguard is the paper. The Punch
Their love
newspaper.
gifts.
That's right. 6 Southwest governors may sign a Amatekun bill Friday. That's on the front page of the Punch newspaper. You see on the front page of this day as well. Amatekun law ready in Southwest states February 14.
I think Rotimi read ahead and said they were probably going to do a coordinated signing.
Right.
Is that same day, same hour, on your
And
mark?
that's what is being
That's
planned
what
right
we're
now
doing.
on Friday.
I also believe that the content of the bills will be significantly the same.
Yes.
Significantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that they can have proper coordination. The message to us is, for as long as we have the kind of Meduguri situation,
Right.
the necessity for an Amotekun will continue to be reinforced. And we'll continue to see more of people trying to say, look, we can't trust the state to secure us, so we have to secure ourselves. And it's obvious.
I think it's
obvious.
unfortunate that we're at this juncture,
Very
but it's where
unfortunate.
we are. Because I'm particularly worried about the sprouting of these security forces across the country. It's necessary. We can't, deny that at this point. But I'm saying, look, 10 years from now, there's a new BBC report released, and some of the violations and touches carried out were from civilian JTF. They are necessary. But how do we, manage these varying security outfits? Everyone trying to say, this is how we do it in our own side. This is how you do it at your own side.
Those are, pockets of people trying to find solutions to their problem by themselves.
Right.
But the real issue, which we need to deploy, is a total change of the security strategy in itself. Is because that is missing, that people are trying to help themselves. I learned that even the Police Act has not been significantly changed for over 50 years.
Right.
Minor touches here and there.
There, nothing significant. So how we approach this, the wars of yesterday are not the wars of today.
Absolutely.
Right.
The theaters have changed, the actors have changed, all the metrics changed. So the strategy has to fundamentally change, and it's not going to just change on the paper. We can't have a document called
Right.
strategy without deploying it, and deploying it means we should see changes in the system.
So we have the Southwest governors coming together with Amatekun, and the law will be signed into law by these states on Friday, hopefully. The Southeast governors claim that they started all this, but they're trying to cross their T's and dot their I's. They were at the meeting. It was in our news this morning as well. The northern states also are putting themselves together. In fact, they condemn the ones formed by a group. My point is this, right? And yes, and the federal government is now increasing the volume on community policing. I am thinking, what is the relationship between the community policing of the federal government and the community policing of these regional security outfits? Is there going to be a clash of some sort at the end of the day when the federal government finally ready to set up their own community policing?
I don't think so. In a country
I
that,
fear that there might be.
Because it's looking like it.
in the real sense, if the plan does not incorporate these people as at this stage,
Yeah.
Right.
there will be a problem.
There will be.
Normally, how this thing will play out to make it smooth is that the people that are coming up now, the community policing that is coming up now, will have been an integral part of the plan, so that when federal government get to that junction, it just easily absorb those other entities into its structure.
But we don't ever plan like that.
But in the real sense, I have my fears. We might even be
Very well.
raising militias.
That's
and,
Exactly.
my worry.
and we think we're policing
That's my
our
worry.
environment.
That's
you
my
know.
worry. In a country where we don't even have data, we don't know who's who. Well, it's just a big fear.
It's something that the federal government needs to. I think federal government has been a bit on the slow side, if you ask me, as far as the security matter is concerned.
They're
Because
always on the slow side.
I learned there was a new security strategy.
Yeah, but let's get it implemented.
Let's
we don't
roll
need it
out.
on paper. Let's get it started. On Twitter, we have comment from Chuks Ozuelu, who says, Wemimo, I'm really tired of these killing reports. Can Buhari act or resign?
It's tiring.
Will heaven fall if
tiring.
Buhari resigns? All we hear is condemn, and all. God help us. Joy forever says something is wrong with the way we're fighting Boko Haram. How can we still shut gates of a major city when they have been defeated? Governor Babagana should watch his back. Well, God have mercy on Nigeria. Maybe because of his face-off with the army. There's a comment here that gets me worried. Mr. V from Surulere on WhatsApp is asking, are we sure they're Boko Haram members or the Nigerian army? I know.
No.
That's too much.
That's a theory.
No.
That's quite a theory. Steve from okay, again, no, I'm not reading your message again. Emmanuel from Quadry on Boko Haram attacks on stranded passengers. The president lacks capacity to govern the country. He's more than clueless. The same government will call these criminals repentant Boko Haram after killings and rendering many homeless. That's from Chinedu from Idumota. Will Sawolu be a signatory to Amotekun? Do you have his phone number? He surely would be. He's in the Southwest. Alex Agua from Aja is asking, but he surely would be. Okachuku is my name. It's a pity that the media refuse to say things the way they are. Why did the military stop the travelers before the incident? This government keeps granting amnesty to these guys, Boko Haram, and listing them in the military. Quite some theories.
Let me go to YouTube very quickly. Kazbak or Lyinka on YouTube, on our stream on YouTube, says Buhari should stop deceiving Nigerians with empty promise about Boko Haram. That's Kazbak or Lyinka on YouTube. Straight to Facebook right now. Loads of comment here on Facebook. We'll just try and take as many as I can. Gbolahan Akimbami says IGP needs to align gray area between community policing and regional protective bodies like Amotekun. Yeah, that's exactly what we just talked about. Musa Aika says, good morning to you in the studio. I'm worried about the repentant Boko Haram.
Everybody.
That's just the way he puts it.
Because we keep bringing them back. Some of them are put in the military. Pretty worrisome. Let's see. The word. Okay, Africa. Okay, West Africa. Not exaggerate. West Africa is asking questions about our border closure. ECOWAS pushes for reopening of Nigeria's borders. That's from The Nation. It's also on the Daily Sun. ECOWAS probes Nigeria's border closure.
Yeah, well, definitely.
It took them quite a while to. I thought they would have started this.
No, there have been individual negotiations.
And they should have done,
but they found themselves all together.
Finally.
So let's take on this.
Our borders
matter.
are still closed.
Our borders are still closed.
I didn't expect it to be this long.
Nobody did. We thought it was going to be 2 months affair. Now
It's looking like you see Nigerians, the way we settle into matters.
We just set.
we
adjust.
we settled
like,
nicely.
We're very good at that.
It's okay. Everything's okay now.
Adjusted. People have moved on into other things. Those who are still smuggling have found better way to be smart about it.
I suspect.
Those who are milking the system and making money of it are milking, and so we just moved on. That's the reality. Now, formally, those countries discussing with us at the AU, we have to make them commit to some good play.
Right.
Because if that is not, it's not just about we're not going to be big brother for nothing.
Right. Right.
And open our borders. If they are not going to play by the rules,
why is it so hard for them to then play by the rules? We've said these are the rules.
They also need some economic adjustments.
Yeah.
It is.
And they might be very big.
They might be very big. Those ports in Benin are essentially built for Nigeria.
So I don't think personally that the AU didn't know that these guys are violating the treaty that they signed. I'm not sure that the AU, I beg your pardon, didn't know about this. And the AU is saying they want to investigate. What did the AU do when these guys were violating this thing that they signed?
You should know, when we say investigate, a lot of time those things are just formalities.
But maybe they'll then investigate both sides now.
Well, let them go ahead and investigate.
At least they're starting to do
if
something.
it helps to douse the tension, open the borders, everybody start behaving properly, I'm all for it.
Well, we talked yesterday. All security issues again boil down to having ready recruits for Boko Haram. That's why it's really hard to end Boko Haram. And we mentioned on the show yesterday about how education is an important part of this. I think we talked about this during the chit chat in the morning also, how we're not asking questions of the governors about what they're doing
Yes, we did.
in terms of education. Look at this headline here. Unaccessed UBEC grants to states have now hit 73 billion naira. This is counterpart funding. The states have to bring their part and then take the other part.
Right.
Who are the states?
Let me go to pay.
The money,
I know
the
some
money
of
is
them.
there.
They're not taking the
Just
money.
to bring your own counterpart
Yes.
funding and collect.
And yes, and all we do as Nigerians, as residents of these states, is to blame the federal government. Meanwhile, there is a UBEC funding that you're supposed to impress on your governors to put the counterpart funding there so that your children can have better education.
So you
But
go to
we
JAM,
don't have that kind of information.
and you find states from the north, their cutoff will be 45 out of 400, 50,
Why?
70.
Why?
We keep calling them educationally disadvantaged states.
Whose
Looks
fault
like
is
their
that?
governors like it that way. Let me tell you the states on this list. Well, some of them, let me see. We have, interestingly, we have Anambra, Enugu, we have Abia, we have Plateau, we have, where's the rest of this story? Where's it got to? I can't find it.
Okay, whatever the case may be, the education system already has serious problems.
Right.
Even in states that have invested a lot in
Kwara.
education. I'll give you an example. Kaduna State.
Right.
El Rufai has done tremendously well as far as investing in education
Yeah.
is.
Even
But
put
when
his
I
son
saw a
in a public
documentary
school.
over the weekend about a school still in Kaduna State, where the kids were still sitting on the floor right on
You know we
on
have a long way to
TV.
go.
I know we have a long way to go. And that the problem is not even going to be solved at the federal or state level.
I agree with you.
At the local government level.
I
Because
agree with you
come to
totally.
think of it, El Rufai in Kaduna, how many schools can he know about?
Right.
The local governments must function, and everybody must be involved in solving this education problem.
Right.
Without it, we ain't going nowhere.
Do we even know the importance of education? Let me tell you why I asked the question. So, for instance, a state such as River State, the former governor built model schools everywhere, virtually in all local government
governments.
areas. As a matter of fact, it was so cool that you will want to deliberately
Withdraw
just
from private
withdraw from private and
and
take
put
your.
in it.
But let me shock you. You will not believe that some parents still did not allow their children to go to school. That's how that's why I asked the question. Do we even know?
Why are they not arrested?
Do the
So
parents?
and there are universities.
Do our parents, our local parents in the rural areas, in the hinterlands, the farms, do they understand the importance?
It is possible there are cultural issues, whatever the issues are. And that is why we also have universities in those places. There are research. You have to conduct research. What exactly is going on? Why are we having this scenario? And then provide solutions to make people go to those schools. Without
Then
that,
arrest them. The state has a responsibility to make sure that the child goes to school. The Child's Rights Act underlines its facts. As a parent, you do not have a right to lock a child at home. Arrest a dozen of them and go and give them training in.
how many will you? How many will you
arrest?
jail?
Let me go to
it's a carrot,
Facebook.
carrot and stick.
Absolutely. Let's read some comments on our way out. Facebook is bubbling. Gbolahan Akibami brought in our chit-chat conversation. CSC is asking clients to dress, to be decent in dressing. Okay, speaking about the story we talked about earlier on. Okay, Kennedy Alex on Facebook says, until the life of every single Nigerian is held sacred, our security situation will remain in shambles. Every victory by Boko Haram gives more backbone for them to do something more daring. Ima is asking, how are these people recruited? How do they manage to get these war weapons they use? How do they move the food they eat into the forest? Are they invisible? Why did Buhari terminate the contract signed between Nigeria and the U.S. Army as soon as he became leader? And there was a documentary I saw recently. You guys should have seen it. Okay, let's head to WhatsApp. Good Lord.
Let me take this very quickly. King Metasoge on YouTube says, Auntie Wemimo, Until Wemimo of God. That's Wemimo Lua.
You guys are giving me names.
Take some hot stuff for the cough. I love you. Sad I didn't get through to contribute during the chit chat.
Thank
so
you.
the chit chat is just so hot.
Yes.
Tolu Shokumbi on YouTube says, "Hello, Sheriff. Unemployment situation may be part of the discouragement for parents who do not allow their kids in the villages."
True, though. They need the children to also pitch in so they can all get something to eat.
Right.
There are more messages on WhatsApp, but we really need to go now. Your messages are all acknowledged. You tagged me in a video on Twitter. Oh, I've seen it. I responded. Yeah, my voice is under pressure. And the BBC story you tagged me in, if you are the one, is here on the front page of the Daily
Right,
Sun.
there.
BBC exposes tactics used by police, army to touch on Nigerians. I don't know if you've seen that video. Something called Tabe.
Right.
We're bringing one of the BBC correspondents, and it's not just the army. The
Right,
army, the
right,
police, JTF, everybody.
There's
Torture.
there's a case
Yeah.
being championed by Nigeria Info FM in Port Harcourt about a young man, Chima, who was tortured to death.
And the story is
Death.
right here.
Yes, to death.
And his 4 others were injured severely because of
right.
torture. That story is somewhere on the front page. We're bringing one of the BBC correspondents, Mayeni Jones, to the studio tomorrow morning to talk about that torture story. So make sure to join us from 8 to 9:30 tomorrow. You heard some more. If you've not seen that documentary, go check it out. When we come back from the break, so Lagos government banned Okada and Marua, all right?
Yeah.
And now they're saying that Uber driver, Bolt, all those e-hailing taxis now have to get some form of operating licenses, and they've been arresting their vehicles. We'll be asking them why they're doing that. Do they want to send them out of Lagos also? Join the show at just 1 minute away from now. Gbolahan, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
We have people from the e-hailing association. They're
Right,
waiting
right.
just here to compare their grievances on the show. Make sure to join us when we come back. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.